Gabriel is one of the most underappreciated players at Arsenal Football Club. I actually am starting to believe he's the most underrated player currently within our first team setup. I am by no means saying he's faultless. He can't make improvements, but I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, really. I think he's a quality player. And at 26 years of age, he's now entering the prime stages of his career. And there's a reason why he's central to our success, really. He's one of our most key players, but still he doesn't get the plaudits, in my opinion, that's afforded to at sometimes Saliba, who deserves it, and the rest of the other players we hold in high. Gabriel is one of the most underappreciated footballers at Arsenal Football Club. I'm not saying he's the only one, and if you disagree, fair enough, but at least let me fight his case, people. 12 goals scored for Gabriel since he's joined us, people, in the Premier League. 13 goals in total and 49 clean sheets in 147 games, people. Zinchenko said it best when he described him as the wall. Imagine playing against him in training, people. It would absolutely be a myth. I think he's got everything, if I'm completely honest with you. Has the same amount of Premier League goals now as Tony Adams. I'm not suggesting he's on par with him, but it just shows you how he pops up in both ends. He makes his money being a defender and pops up with a vital goal. He's also got 3 goals in the Premier League. We all know we've got issues in front of goal. In front of you guys, people, I tried to do the Sky Sports thing, people, and just talk about fouls, clean sheets, and passes. Now, Gabriel isn't the prettiest, so he's not going to be first for passes. He actually is the highest ranking for fouls, which is an occupational hazard, people. I might think he's underappreciated, but Mikel Arteta's words here suggest different, which is great. And we've not only got 1, but 2 fantastic centre halves, people, in Saliba and Gabriel. I'm not saying he's on Van Dijk's level, but for blocks and stuff, he's level with Van Dijk, and he's also got a better percentage of duels won. Keep going, Gabriel. My defender, got a lot of time for you, and simply put, more of the same against Nottingham Forest. Very underappreciated defender, but I don't think he is internally. Now, guys, obviously football is subjective. I always say on my YouTube channel, I'm not telling you what to think, just think. Life, like football, would be very boring if we all thought the same way. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. We're all allowed opinions. Now, when it comes to Gabriel, though, I will say one point to aid my agenda. Kai Havertz has been here for about 30 seconds, people. He's already got his own chant. Why doesn't big Gabriel? Mikel Arteta, Arsenal internally in the fan base, we have a running joke that Mikel Arteta has signed a lot of goalkeepers and also a lot of defenders. And there has been, off the top of my head, Benjamin White, Timber, Cedric Suarez, Pablo Marie, there's a bunch more, again, it's difficult doing the vids, but you get the point. There's been hundreds of defenders, technically, Zinchenko, Kirio, a lot of players. And I'm not trying to get at Mikel Arteta or anyone. My point being, we seem to be a revolving door where defenders are concerned. One that Mikel Arteta has got bang on. Big up Timber and Benjamin White, because I think they've been good. I think Zinchenko enhanced the system for all his gifts and curses that he brings to the table. Gabriel's been a hit. We signed him for 20 odd million quid. Where we talk about Gabriel, me personally, I still feel he's got this unneeded kind of stigma around his name with the bozo gene and prone to rashness. Don't get it twisted. No player is perfect. He is prone to some crazy stuff and does some crazy things and things like that. But I do think they are becoming less frequent. I believe he's becoming a lot more calculated. I think he's reading situations a lot better and his performances have stepped up. And at him entering 26, we have a great partnership with him and Saliba. Gabriel is the aggressor. Saliba's the gracious one. Good cop, bad cop. I think Gabriel's mistakes and errors are still there, but they're few in between. So he's showing greater consistency. He's looking a bit more calculated. He's less prone to moments of madness and whatnot. And I think he's really going up the level. Do I think he's the best centre half in the Premier League? Of course I don't. I think he's in the conversation when you get beyond a Saliba, a Diaz, a Van Dijk, people of that kind of ilk. I think the step below, there's several centre backs that are very good. And I think Gabriel's one of them. I think Gabriel is central to our build-up play. I don't think he gets enough credit where it shouldn't be his job. But him, Saliba, and Declan Rice always try and get the boys going and try and, they actually try and attack. Obviously, a theme of the video, we keep talking about goals. I don't necessarily care if my centre-half scores. You've got to be able to defend, which Gabriel clearly can do. But he's chipped in with goals. In fact, against Crystal Palace, when we returned from Dubai, he looked like the only one that was focusing on the finishing drills. Shout out to the Premier League for rightly rectifying their mistake and crediting him with a second goal, so he got a brace. So I actually think that means Saka has got seven assists now. Let's keep pushing the agendas. I don't think he gets credit for that. What the points I've said, I don't think he gets enough credit for how he has to defend in wide areas. I don't think he gets enough credit when we go into big games and we have great defensive performances. Now, anyone's going to look average next to Saliba, and football is about partnerships and relationships. The weaknesses of Gabriel's, Saliba has them as strengths, and vice versa. They complement each other very well. I don't think necessarily Saliba is going to be able to be as gracious and things if Gabriel doesn't do what he does, and vice versa. I love Gabriel's aggression. He gets tight to a centre half. Of course, he's prone to moments of rashness and madness in that regards and whatnot, but he gets tight. He's aggressive. Saliba mops up and looks very graceful, and we've got it bang on. We've got two of the best centre halves in world football. I genuinely believe that. I'm not saying they're top 10, top 5. We've got two of the best centre halves in the Premier League, and we've got one of the best duos, centre half pairings, really, and they've got a lot of resale value. Obviously, you describe Gabriel as the man for the present. If I go back all the way to August, it looked like maybe he could actually leave because he was on the bench. There were Saudi rumours and other rumours and things like that. But since then, he's gone from strength to strength. Obviously, the key for him and for Gabriel and Saliba is to kick on now, to get even greater levels of performances and things like that. Keep shutting up the top attackers in the Premier League, and obviously to make inroads where the Brazil squad is concerned, because it's a different dynamic. It's like when Saliba plays for France, he's playing as a left-sided centre half. He's not quite looking the same. Where you look at the top level centre halves, regardless of where, or historical top centre halves, regardless of where they're playing, obviously you're only as good as bad as those around you, and you're not Superman. But there's a certain level of performance, and I'm happy to have Gabriel, man. I think, as I said, Arteta's made a bag of defensive signings. Gabriel's ones that's worked out. He's thrived. I like his mentality. He always faces up to the music. He puts his body on the line. He's definitely one of the best left-sided centre halves in world football at this moment. And I just don't think he gets enough credit, really and truly, especially when our backs are against the wall and we're having it's kind of, crazy defending levels. As I said, is he perfect? By no stretch of the imagination. Is there things he can improve? 100%. But I don't think he gets the credit. Obviously, I do think he's good on the ball. I think he's good with carrying the ball. I think his passing range is good, but it's not quite as crisp and graceful as a Van Dijk or at Arsenal as a Saliba. And obviously, Saliba's a golden lad, a unicorn, a generational talent. I go as far as to say everybody's going to look average. Probably people are not going to give the plaudits in that regard. But we would not be doing what we're doing if Gabriel wasn't looking as good as he is looking. And he's one of the pillars of the team. You look at him, Saliba, obviously Declan Rice, that's the Bermuda Triangle. In an attacking sense, you've got Saka and Odegaard. We'd love to have Thomas Partey back fit and show us a prolonged moment of fitness. And what I think goes under the radar is the temperament, and Saliba as well. But Gabriel and Saliba, they want to play in the big games. They want to have good performances against the Haalands and the Salahs and these sort of people, to make, obviously they've been mixed. There's been mixed success in that regards. And I think the whole team can go up several levels clearly in an attacking sense, because Gabriel shouldn't be one of our top goal scorers. And obviously in a defensive sense, when I'm talking about an attacking sense, that's not just necessarily on the attackers. And obviously, defending is not just on the defenders. As I say, David Raya is our first attacker, as you probably saw with one of the goals that Jesus set up for Trossard. Our first defender is Gabriel Jesus and probably Martin Odegaard, because they lead the press. I'm simply just saying, and the main talking point, people, I do think Big Gabby is underappreciated. I do think he's underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit for everything he does and his leadership skills as well, people. And he's vital to the team. Of course, if I had to sell either Gabriel or Saliba, I'm sorry, Gabriel, but Saliba is the one that I would love to keep, really. And, you're more likely to find someone that is kind of closer to Gabriel's level than Saliba's level, what Saliba can be. I do think at this present moment in time, there's not much that separates them, if I'm completely honest. At the aspect of defending, I think there's sometimes where Saliba saves Gabriel's bacon, Gabriel saves Saliba's bacon, but that is football. That's what anyone that's played Sunday League all the way to the top level, the best players, you get your teammates out of things, you hide their weaknesses and you enhance their strengths. That's what football is about, relationships. And, I do think over the last 2 seasons, we're a more improved defensive side. Them levels have kind of dropped off this season. Obviously, that's down to Mikel Arteta and the whole coaching staff and the players and their willingness to want to do that. But it's also because we've got a great partnership, and obviously because of Gabriel's performances. If we could just get a left back that is solid defensively and gives us a lot in an attacking sense, we'd all love Timber to be back fit. Imagine what our defensive setup could look like, really, with a Timber on the left-hand side, with Benjamin White at right back, the two centre-halves in Gabriel or Saliba, or you throw Tomiyasu, apologies, any aspect in that defensive back line, what we could be doing. Mikel Arteta don't get any ideas about playing Thomas Partey right back anymore, my guy. When he's back fit, let's just run him in centre mid. And again, physically as well, you know, there has to be a contrast with us getting more physical players, if not necessarily through height and stature, but mentality and just being a bit more difficult to beat. You know, I go as far as to say I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the Arsenal changing room, people, but I genuinely believe Gabriel is someone that them players respect highly. Big Gabriel is someone that you want by your side, obviously because he's a man mountain and no one would try it with him if he was in a fight in a nightclub. Do I think he's perfect? Once again, no. Is there several things he can improve? Is there several things that I think he's ironing out of his game that he could even further iron out of his game? 100%. But I love that defender, and I think he's a quality player. And I do think he's one of the most underappreciated players in the Premier League, and internally within our fan base, one of the most underappreciated players. Again, match-going Arsenal fans. Kai Havertz got a chant. Big Gabriel, who's been a loyal serviceman, won a trophy or two with us and been with us through the trenches and is a man who won in the trenches, deserves his plaudits and also deserves his chant. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? As I said, I don't tell you what to think, just think. On that note, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bells, check out the rest of the videos. Peace.
There's always that active red line defending. I think it's like